kind of grew a resentment with Islam. I had to kind of rely on myself, spending my money on modifying cars. Now realizing I was relying on God. I was relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But those struggles brought me closer. I'm doing this video because I feel like I have some experiences that I want to share since my reversion to Islam. My intention is to hopefully help other people to become more religious. I was originally introduced to Islam by my dad in Australia. Even though I was born in Malaysia, I never really saw how Muslims prayed or practiced their religion. But it wasn't until I came to Australia I celebrated Eid over there. I cared a lot what other people think about me, and going to Islamic school at age 11 where other kids are 4 or 5, and that was when I first started learning more about Islam, the 5 pillars, the prayers, learning Arabic. So from then on, I kind of grew a resentment with Islam because there were a lot of restrictions at the time I didn't really agree with. And asking my parents these questions, they never really tell me a good reason. At least I thought so at the time. I'm not saying they're bad parents, may Allah reward them, but for my brain to understand something back then, I wasn't the smartest. Fast forwarding to my high school, to my pre-college years, I experienced a different lifestyle. I kind of just did what I wanted, and that led me to who I am today. I was into the car scene. I was spending my money on modifying cars. I didn't really care what people religion they were. It was, for me at the time, was a good time. But as I got into my first corporate job, I started to hang out with the wrong type of people, and I got into an area where it wasn't very pleasing. But I will say this: I don't think I would have become a Muslim if it wasn't for those experiences. Those experiences that I had, the partying, those were very dark nights. And I always had this FOMO. I always had this fear of missing out. I always wanted to be the cool kid ever since I was young, and I took that upon me to be this person that I wasn't really truly myself. So 2022, I moved to Los Angeles for a job. I thought that was the best thing in my life. I was doing something that I really loved. It was my dream job, essentially. At least I thought it was. It wasn't until end of 2023 I reverted to Islam. There was some serious dark times I experienced in Los Angeles, and alhamdulillah, I'm grateful for those experiences. I gave up a lot of... One of the core reasons I came back to Islam was loneliness. There was a few things I did, and there was a few things I had to let go, and that there was a few months of struggle I had to face. And when I came back, I felt relieved. I took my Shahada online in front of a computer. And during that moment, I felt relieved. I felt something came off my chest. But I also knew there was a challenge that I had to do. I had to relearn the religion again. I had to relearn my prayers. I had to relearn Arabic. But alhamdulillah, Allah guided me to where I am today. Praying 5 times a day was hard for me. I think it took me a few months to really get down my prayers. Especially, not knowing Arabic, not knowing what I was reciting without the meaning. It was very hard. Coming forward was my first Ramadan, and that's when the real challenge came in. I was still living in Los Angeles at the time. I still am, and I had no one. I lost all my friends from my previous days. I didn't really have anyone to talk to. I, for the most part, had to kind of rely on myself. Now realizing I was relying on God, I was relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There were a few things that I think fasting brought me really closer. The tawakkul, the sabr that I received from that month brought me here where I am today. I was starting to gain more purpose, alhamdulillah. Now, fast forwarding to mid 2023, I decided to book a trip to Malaysia. Out of nowhere, you know, people were telling me, "Oh, Malaysia's this, Malaysia's that, bad people," but that's every country. But when I went there, it was such a warming experience. It was such a life-changing experience, actually. I didn't know I can be a Muslim and be proud of it. I didn't know I didn't have to worry about anything openly being a Muslim compared to America. I was very afraid when I reverted back because of how the Western media portrayed Muslims these days. We are terrorists. We are, whatever they portrayed us to be. I was very afraid, and for the longest time, I believed the media. But alhamdulillah, Allah guided me. So going back to Malaysia, I experienced a lot of things that even made me more close to my faith. I also still had struggles, but those struggles brought me closer. And when I came back, I decided to really learn the full meaning of the recitation of my prayer. How to pray better, how to have more khushu'. Fast forwarded to 2024, I went to Indonesia, and that was another milestone of seeing how Muslims prayed. It was mind-boggling because there was mosques everywhere. Alhamdulillah, I was going to the mosque for a few more times in a day. Going to the mosque for Fajr, praying Tahajjud, and I started to see my life forming. I started to see the things that I wanted come to. And as I said before, there's always a light. There was always a light end of the tunnel. And fast forwarding to 2025, a lot of things have changed in my life. Alhamdulillah. From going to a new life without any proper guidance from people. I was very afraid. I didn't have anyone to look or ask advice to. But I had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. SubhanAllah, He guided me through these challenges. And I'm seeing firsthand that very similar people are going through the same as me. We was converting to Islam, reverting to Islam, whatever it is. I see that many people are going through the same struggles as me. SubhanAllah. So I hope this video kind of enlightens some people with their faith. Knowing there's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be certain obstacles with your life, but just know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you. He will guide you if you leave everything to Him. That's exactly what I did. Anyway, guys, if you're watching this, please give it a like, subscribe, and comment what you think. I hope to make more videos like these.